Let's meet someone who has mastered the art of blending business and travel to create a life of intention and adventure. I'm Kate Say. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, Emma Lovell is an author, speaker, and business coach, helping people to blend business, travel, and self-care to create a life they love. With 15 years of remote business experience and traveling to 75 countries, she shares her insights in the art of pleasure and the podcast, The Emma Lovell Show. So thank you, Emma. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited.
Well, I'm so excited about this book. I cannot wait for this to be my next read. But tell me how this all started. So firstly, what is pleasure? Yeah. And then why have you written a book about this? What is your passion?
Yeah, we have to really enunciate the B, because when we do, sometimes people like pleasure, and I'm like, no, business and leisure. So that's the B. And so pleasure is a term that was coined in 2009 by some futurists, but it was really used in the travel industry. So talking about when people go on corporate travel, so a conference or a meeting, and then they extend their travel. So trying to, stay in destinations longer. But I've taken it to another level, and that is, it's how I live my life. So I'm not talking about a pleasure business or pleasure travel. I'm talking about a pleasure life, and that is how you combine business, travel, and self-care to live the life you love.
Amazing. So your goal is to travel to all 195 UN nations countries, is that right?
Yeah, so there's 195 UN recognised countries in the world. There's more countries, but the UN list is kind of the accepted list. And yeah, I was in Mongolia, and just this woman had been there, and she just was about to become the first black woman to do it. And I was like, I wonder how many people have done this. And then I kind of added up my countries and went, well, I'm kind of on the way.
Wow.
And so now I've been to 75 countries, 65 of which are UN recognised. So I'm like a third of the way.
What I love about this is you actually have a husband and a child, and you're still travelling. Yeah. So tell me how this works.
Well, it's kind of funny because today my husband is in Cairns, my son is in Sydney with his grandparents, and I'm in Melbourne. So it's very much our life. He's 4. He's been on 71 flights, probably 73 now, and he's been to 12 countries plus. So it is a way of life. My husband knew what he was signing up for when he met me nearly 11 years ago. And I just think it's that what I'm trying to show is that you don't need to separate work and life or work and travel. There's ways to find harmony in it. And I just don't subscribe to the model of work, and then play, or work, pay our mortgage off, retire, and then we'll go and travel and enjoy our lives.
And hope that you still have your health and everything else at that point too.
Yeah, and look, and with a child as well, people like when they're older. It's like, the thing is, people say about my son is he's so adaptable. Yeah. He just walks in a room and sees people and sees where he is, and he's like, oh, cool, okay, because that's all he knows. He's been doing it since before he can remember. And it's about the enjoyment. And I think we can get so caught up in the day-to-day and the daily grind when we're at home. And so going outside or having that travel perspective, like when we're on holiday, you are a bit more creative, you are a bit more open, you are a bit more relaxed. So we can be a bit more loving and open and curious together. So
you're probably a better person as a family person too, because
I think so.
You can get a bit of sunshine when there may be darkness in Melbourne for 6 months. So
yeah, and look, and it's not all sunshine and roses.
Yes.
Like, for sure there's challenging times, but if my son's going to throw a tantrum, I'd rather he do it in a 5-star hotel in India, and then I get to go relax by the pool after, than just always in my living room.
Good point. Now, tell me about growing up in childhood and then your first sort of part of your career, and what's led you to this?
My parents are English, so they emigrated to Australia when I was before I was born. Yes. So travel is kind of in my blood, because in order to see our extended family, we needed to travel. So even at the age of 2, I was on a plane. So that is normal to me. Yes. And then we had relatives come and visit. So we kind of got to act like tourists at home, and we always had people coming. Then my parents worked in a very global industry. They both worked in the freight forwarding, which is logistics, imports, exports. So we had people coming from Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, all over Europe, coming to Australia to have meetings and to network with my parents, and they always included us. So that was, again, very normal to me. And so I set this goal when I was 9 years old that I was going to go have a gap year after school and travel the world, and I did. There's something, if I say I'll do something, if I say I'll write a book, I'll do it. If I say I'll travel the world.
Committing to a gap year, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then people were like, oh, you've got the travel bug. And it's like, it's not a bug. It's not a sickness. It's not something I just have caught onto. It is if I want to see my family, that's how I do it. And so it was, how can I keep doing more of this?
Yes.
And so throughout university, I used, you're only at university for like 8 months a year. Like the semesters, there's a lot of holiday break.
Absolutely.
So I would, at that time,
and what were you studying?
Business.
Oh, yes.
So then I started a business. So business majoring marketing and PR. And so I was then, working in kind of promotions and marketing and lots of bits and bobs work. So whatever I needed to do to get the money to do the travel. Yes. I would work, and I did do a little bit work, and then play hard. Work, then travel, and then come back broke, and then work, and then travel, until I broke my back. So I was snowboarding in university games, competing in university games in Australia, and I broke my back going off a jump.
Oh my goodness.
And obviously everything stopped.
Yes.
And it kind of gave me the time to go, this is like, it's too extreme. But also I haven't had the time or space to do the thing that I thought I might want to do, which is start a company. And, little 22-year-old, you think you're so behind and, I haven't started a business yet. Yeah. So I thought, well, while I'm resting, I have the time to do that. And again, I wanted that freedom. I knew that I was like, I'm not going to go just get a job and work. I want to be able to be in charge of my time. And if I run a business, theory is I should be able to do that. And so I started
might be working more time, but at least you can do it in your way.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't know that lesson before. I learned that along the way, but that's a lesson we have to learn as well. So I started the company and away we went, and that's 15 years ago.
Wow. And it's not a day of work when you actually love what you do. And I think that's the difference, that if people knew that starting a business meant never really stopping working ever, they probably wouldn't get started. But when you love what you do, you're constantly working because you
get the fruits of the labour too, right? Yeah. You put in, the work you put in, you should get out. However, the book is very much for small business owners as well, because there's always more ideas, there's always more to do. You could hypothetically work all the time and for me, it's like, I used to call myself a freelancer, and there were days where I'd go, where's the free in freelancer? Like, where's the freedom? Because I feel compelled to work, and even having never had a corporate, typical 9-to-5 job apart from contracting, I would subscribe to that.
And deadlines.
Such a mentality. And so sometimes, look, there's days where I don't love it, but at least I can be in a place where I love it. Like, so I might not be loving, ultimately work is work and you have to do the work. But then I'm like, well, at least I can be in a beautiful place. So once I finish my work, I can go and look at the lovely view. So, that's kind of the work-life harmony that I bring in, is that, your work, I do love it a lot of the time, and I'm very fortunate and had to say to myself yesterday, like, look at the life you've created.
Yes.
But, there are times where it's tiring and it takes effort and it takes coordination and those sorts of things, but I still get to choose it. And it's remembering, it's my choice. This is the freedom I signed up for. So then make sure you're getting the benefit of the thing that you actually said you wanted to do.
That makes perfect sense. And so you've broken your back. That would have been a huge, huge challenge to go through in that recovery process, but you turned that into an opportunity to start the business. Have you had any other big challenges, and what happened during COVID for you?
Yeah, I mean, COVID, look, initially was like, whoa, because, everybody's work was stopping and everyone was freaking out. Yeah. And part of my work is that you have to market and promote. At the time I was coaching people on personal brand, and you really have to market, and it felt very icky to do that. However, I listened to a podcast and it changed my perspective, and it was like, it was for writers and freelancers, and it's like, we are communicators, and at this time we need communication, and it shifted it. And so I went home and I went, you know what, I've worked remotely for years. I know how this, I'm comfortable. Everybody else is freaking out because they have to go home. Yeah. I'm set up. And so I just emailed a couple of clients and said, look, I'm sure you're a bit overwhelmed. Just letting you know I'm good, I'm ready to go, I can help you. And I got a couple of clients straight away and ended up like helping one of my clients to set up a communications app inside of their company to help them with coordinating with staff. So it was like that, again, that was like, whoa, I've been training for this. This is like freelancing, running a business, sole trader, that's a roller coaster.
Yes.
Like I can actually be like the calm in the storm.
Yeah.
And then it was just trying to, people said, oh, that you must be so upset because you're not traveling. But it actually was a time of gratitude where I was like, I've done so much travel. I didn't wait for one day.
Yes.
I didn't wait for that big trip and save up that so many people sadly lost.
Yeah.
Because I'd done it. I literally, we went and got, we eloped to Mexico on the 29th of February and we got back and like a week later the borders closed. So
goodness
I was
me.
all topped up. I was like, just had the most trip of a lifetime. So I really enjoyed actually being at home and just going for a walk and enjoying my local area, like because it was so quiet, all the wildlife, seeing like stingrays and dugongs in my bay, like it was like the chance to, and it's something I talk about in the book, having a traveller mindset.
Yes.
So like seeing the world around you with new eyes. And I know not everyone had that experience and I feel for them, but we had the situation we had. And I think we got taken away that anticipation and that enjoyment of planning travel.
Yes.
But for me, then I went, okay, well, let's look back at what I have done, celebrate what I have achieved and enjoy what I have around me.
That transformational mind shift really rings true to me, how you listened to something, then you went, actually, no, I'm ready for this. And it's everything that we go through happens for a reason. Yeah. And you'd already had your broken back at this stage. You'd been through hard things. So you knew how to, you had the grit, you had some resilience, so you could find a way to make things happen. And obviously it worked to your benefit. So incredible. And what about some of your biggest wins?
I mean, for me, the book is such a big win. Like I've done some incredible things. I've trekked mountains, like the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, Kilimanjaro, Everest Base Camp. This morning I was at a Business Chicks breakfast and I got to interview. I've twice done a panel at their breakfast, so at their conference actually, which was being on their stage holding the microphone was a real career highlight.
Yes.
But like this book is my legacy and I wanted to write a book from after the gap year. So I got back from overseas and I was like, I'm going to write a book. Not now knowing that it needed to happen when it happened because I needed the grit, I needed the resilience, I needed the vision for it to come through. And you need to, there's a lot of energy, like it's a year process. And then there's the promotion and the PR and what is the book going to do as well. So I was very aware of it's not just a thing and it's done.
And it's not just about you, it's what can it give other people, isn't it? And that's
the lessons.
Probably why it took you how many years?
Well, 19.
Yeah, there you go. And what is in there now will have so much more essence to it and meaning.
And the timing for me was, I had another tragedy. So I had a year of tragedy. So start of 2023, my husband was involved with the SeaWorld helicopter accidents. He was helping clear up. That was horrible, shock to our whole community. A couple of days later, my nephew was diagnosed with a terminal illness at 11 months old, a week later, given 1 to 2 years to live.
Oh my goodness.
I currently had a 2-year-old. So, and then my grandmother died 2 months later. Wow. And then 6 months later, 2 friends died within 2 weeks of breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
I just went, we don't get someday. Not everybody gets someday, not everybody gets one day. And the book just started, it was like my head was screaming like book. Like if you say you want to do something, if you say you want to go on that trip or you want to start that business or you want to tell someone you love them or whatever it is, like you don't always get to do that. And I thought I would just regret it so deeply if I didn't write a book.
Yes.
And so even though it was extremely difficult, we were in immense grief, still trying to run a business, grow a business, it was like, this has to happen. And I set a date, and setting the date, the deadline helped, albeit stressful. But otherwise, I know people who've been writing books for 4 years and still they have no book. So having the deadline, having support and team around me who believed in the dream and got it there, and now, it's a testament to that time, and that's all part of it. Like that's in it, and it's just that the message that came from it is, you just do not get one day or some days. So you have to live the life that you want to live now.
Yeah, there's not always a tomorrow, and nobody knows when that's coming. And it's funny how we're the only organisms on the planet that know that the end is coming for us, but we don't do anything differently. We live like there's always a tomorrow, and it's fascinating, isn't it? I lost my mum suddenly 1.5 years ago, literally found her dead when she was supposed to pick up my kids from school one day, and tragically Dad was just there and called me and said, you need to come now, they're going to stop working on her body. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you just need to come to her shop. And I said, just tell her I love her, I'll be there in a moment. So that feeling,
I'm sorry for your loss.
No, you've been through it all. And I think, my mum would always say, that's tomorrow's problem. And the funniest thing about that is she only threw the problems to tomorrow. Anything she wanted to do, she did in the moment. She never, ever not did anything she wanted to do. And even we look back now, her very last weekend on this planet was a long weekend in June. She was out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of the long weekend. And actually on the Saturday night, she was out dancing with my younger sister. So
good.
She had the best weekend of her life. And my dad said the same thing. And then when her tomorrow never came, that was all the problems were just never...
They're not hers.
They're not hers. So I can resonate with that. So it's incredible what you're doing, so inspiring. And I'm glad we can share it with the audience because I think it's such a pertinent message that... and with the book, it doesn't have to be... It's not about perfection because people don't finish things because they're too worried about what other people will think or getting it perfect. So.
I mean, look, I was editing it in a haze of grief, and I got to show my nephew the manuscript, but I didn't get to see the final copy. Yeah. So I was editing it. We were finalising it whilst in grief. I went away for 3 weeks on a cruise and in Italy a while, and each day there's just so many steps in a book you don't realise. Like they're still asking me questions about formatting, about... do you want this? And it was, if you don't answer today, the book will not make it on time.
Oh my goodness, that pressure when you're going through the grief as well is...
you realise what's important. It's prioritising, and it's like, if it's not to do with me, my husband or my son, if it's not grieving, if it's not the book, I don't have time for it.
Yes.
And it was like, that's all that matters. And I've never been so laser focused. And then also... each time something completed, so the books arrived, it was like a spot cleared up in my head. And then I had my launch and it was like a spot cleared up in my head. It's like, I can't think ahead 2 weeks, but as soon as that next step, it was really that one foot in front of the other.
Yes.
Just get through the next thing, just get through the next thing. Like I couldn't do forward planning so much, but it was like each kind of thing that happened, the space would clear. I could feel my head literally open. And so to think about how much mental load and how much emotional and how much life stuff we carry in, that people still try to separate work and life. It's like, no, but your life impacts your work and your work impacts your life, and they're not siloed. Like we are human beings, and we're connected, and the compassion and the love and support around it was amazing. And then now it's trying to just celebrate and soak it in and spread the message, because I said,
every day's a blessing. We are so lucky, and that gratitude that you feel every day is just remarkable.
And I just about the as well, having your mum saying that the problems tomorrow. I think sometimes people are like, I don't have enough money. Or I know they'll be sitting there going, well, it's all well and good for Emma. Yeah. She's got X, Y, Z. And it's like, as you said.
But you're human and you've been through a lot. And that's a lot of people without understanding that, knowing that you've been through those things. They'd think that you've just run away from it all and
just wear my sequin suit on the plane.
You're not immune from being human.
No, and it's like, but there'll always be reasons why you can't.
Yes.
I'm asking people to find a reason why they can or how you can. And the subtitle of the book is Travel the World, Make Money and Live a Life You Love. So it's not about having a job or working. It's about how can you find and make money. And that's been my gift, is that I just find money and make money in whatever way I need to do the thing that I love, which is travel. And travel to me means connection and seeing the people that I love and doing things with people I love. So I'm going to keep making money so I can keep doing that.
That's incredible. So thank you so much for sharing your story today. This is The Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.